And so I have very short time. I have 10 minutes, straight to the point, and I've been told, you know, just get on with that. So unfortunately, I'm getting very old because I cannot even see. What is the MENA price index? Is hotel values per keys. Keep it simple. How much is the value of a key? We started this process 1 year ago. Try to look back to the previous 10 years of data month by month in 21 cities. And we try to basically come up with guidance or average prices for 5-star and 4-star hotels in prime and secondary destinations within each city. This is in addition to the monthly forecast we publish. So if you don't have any of this publication, please speak to Jennifer at Bench Events. She has a copy of both. And otherwise, you know, just give us a business card. We make sure you receive it. So what you see in here is the full year 2016, quarter 4. We will publish the quarter 1 2017 in the next couple of weeks. So there is a delay of a month because we need to analyze the market. We need to see the capital markets. We need to see the performance of our asset and what affects the performance and eventually the value of the asset. Of particular interest on the 5-star is basically Dubai leads on the prime 5-star price per key. At the moment, there are certainly hotels in prime location, downtown, Jumeirah, The Palm, that reach more than $1 million a key. The average is $947,000. If you take the average for these 21 cities, it's about $328,000 per key. What is dragging down the value is the Egyptian market, because they're coming out of a challenging period. If you remove Egypt, the value per key goes up to $375,000 for prime destinations. Next, then we look at the 4-star market, and the 4-star market is a different picture. It's much more even. We don't have the plus and minuses that we see with Dubai being close to the $1 million a key. Or that. You can see in the prime spot, the dark blue is very much a consistent message, you know, across. Again, please, you know, discount the Egyptian market, which coming out of a very challenging period. But we're looking at a good average price per key of $168,000 per key on a prime spot for a 4-star hotels. It may not sound a lot, because in some of the property, owners have spent much more than this in building this asset. But let's not forget that we are coming out of a challenging 2016, challenging economies, and there's been some 5 key factors that have affected values. And this is going to be my last slide, and the slide I'm going to spend the most, because this report will be available to you, so you can read in details, market by market, with the commentary. And this is going to be the essence of why are these values so low. Capitalization rates are also low. You know, they're not as sharp as they were in 2014, early 2015. And this reflects the capital market, the land transactions, the performance of the bond market, and so forth. So this shows the top cities in terms of 5-star prime and 5-star secondary and 4-star. What I would like you to focus in here is, and the order is very simple. I don't think there's been a change from quarter 3, 16 to quarter 4. Dubai, Jeddah, Makkah, Riyadh, and Ras Al Khaimah. You know, I've been an advocate and a supporter of Ras Al Khaimah for the past 5 years, and I've always said that's where I will put my money. Ras Al Khaimah today is on the top 5 highest average prices. When you combine all of them, the 4 and the 5-star, values per keys. Fantastic growth, which reflects the effort of the authorities, the effort of the public sector, the effort of the private sector in promoting the destination, and the result are here. You know, we are in line with the likes of Riyadh, Makkah, Jeddah, and Dubai. Jeddah it's been very strong on average room rate, it's been very strong in occupancies, and the supply has been very slow to come to fruition, or much more delayed. Hence the reason hotels have been able to perform. And it's very, very important factor. Every time we do a feasibility study, everybody says, yeah, but there's plenty of supply coming up. My question is, what has been built? Recently, we saw a very good Rockefort opening, a Novotel, but in the past 7 years, I heard any kind of brands. So far, I have not seen nothing opening apart from these two assets. And an Ibis, I think also an Ibis open, Ibis style to be precise. So this is where I would like to draw your attention that values heavily depends on how the asset and the market perform. So I would say that these 5 markets, the top 5 cities that I just mentioned, reflects their performance from a macro and a micro point of view. Then let's move on to the yield. So, and this is what I call, is my favorite, the Bedouin style, the cash on cash. So net income divided the price we estimated. What do I get for my money? Very high yield. The average is 8.8%. So if you look, for example, our backyard, Dubai, a 5-star hotel is a 7.2% yield. So it's a fantastic return on investment. Prime London is sub 5%. Asset appreciation is much faster, much growth. So these are very good results. And let's not forget, we are consultant, we are very conservative. We are very, very conservative in our approach. Because when we talk about values, it goes our reputation, it goes of our liability, it goes our PI insurance. So I go even to details. This is a very good result. Despite the land prices in some destinations, you can see that this is a fantastic result. 8.8 average. The average capitalization rate applied to an asset value across this region is 9.49%, so 9.5%. This was much sharper, much more aggressive. So a multiplier of about 11 on your bottom line. Because we're living in the time we live in. Where do you see the growth? We will see the growth from Q3 2017, this year, until Q2 2022. Why? Because you have key events that are happening into the market. We have the US stabilization from a political front, hopefully, if our friend Donald Trump don't change his mind, or have something under his sleeves. And we have the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, which have a mirror effect into the GCC, which is normal. People coming from above 7 hours flying, they're not going to go just in Qatar. They will come to Dubai, they will go to Abu Dhabi. For those Muslim populations, they perhaps also visit, do Umrah, or go to Mecca or Medina. So the people from Malaysia, Indonesia, all these countries, I'm sure there will be a positive effect into the Saudi Arabian market, despite being a World Cup. So what really affects values? What is really affected? We have a very large portfolio of under asset management across the region, from Africa to Saudi, to UAE, to Jordan. And also we do a lot of valuations. But it's the asset management part that is the most important. Why is that? Because you see how people perform. And then why do I say people? Because again, as I said earlier, I hate from the bottom of my heart pointing the fingers to operators. Because again, if I think I can do it better, I take off my jacket and I go to the operator side. And I don't think we can. Pricing. What is happening in the market is that when revenue management people don't have a clear visibility into the market demand, they go into a panic mode, they drop rates without understanding the cost implication of doing so. And in some of the cases, I can assure you that there is no need to drop rate to that level if you understand your market properly without panicking. I understand there is an asset, I understand there is an owner, I understand there is a general manager, but try to understand a bit more your demand without panic. The next one is cost management. Cost management is quite an interesting one, and it links quite well with my previous statement. more and more people don't do the break-even average room rate. How do you do a break-even average room rate? You need to allocate, in addition to the departmental cost, undistributed expenses, a proportion of your undistributed expenses to your ADR. So you understand exactly what price do I need to price each room category in order to make enough money that flow through to the bottom line. If you don't take into account your undistributed expenses, they're not related to a specific department, you are costing and pricing your hotel totally incorrect. I'll give you a very simple example. Next year, VAT comes in. You have a room, you price it, you have 5% VAT, you have 10-15% OTAs, depending on the chain. You have 20% departmental cost for an average hotel in rooms. So you already have 40% before even you start that hits out of your pricing. So add your undistributed expenses, we're talking some serious amount of money. Very important to do your break-even ADR, because if they don't do that, what is happening, particularly in those packages, bed and breakfast or dinner bed and breakfast, what they're doing now, they are shrinking the allocation to the food and beverage department because the pricing is coming down. So it means you're taking away profit from the rooms, and no brainer, it will hurt your bottom line, because what makes money in a hotel is the room department, the biggest conversion for each dollar you're taking in. The inventory management, that's another good point, the inventory management, is a lot of the hotels right now are going after the wholesale business, and they don't maximize and leverage the corporate and the MICE. Our corporate market is down across, why should we bother? Yes, COBA, every company works for Saudi Aramco, but there is another 11,000 room nights coming from small, medium enterprises. Because you're not big names, because you're not prominent to the magazines, does not mean you don't need to go after them. We have a fantastic case study, we'll be able to rescue that. So maximize the segment, the traditional producer. Don't sell yourself to the wholesale market, package market, because you're panicking. Very important. Food and beverage, again, there seems to be a not very clear understanding between the correlation of most profitable with most popular. Menu engineering needs to be there. A lot of the food and beverage at the moment, due to the lack of footfall, due to the lack of an audience that spend money in food and beverage, from seafood to club sandwich, from the good steak to the fish and chips. This is the audience we're doing now, because we're going after volume. And this is what it does, is look at most profitable versus what I will call most popular. Last but not least is new source market. And after this, I will be in conclusion, otherwise Jennifer, she will shoot me big time. Everybody talks about China. We just published a paper, which is available with Jennifer again, so she will give you a copy, about the mega source market for this region, China and India. Because people think that we have exploited India. We exploited nothing of India. We tip of the iceberg. China, last time I had a conversation, yeah, there are 2 billion people. Wow, great. But I said to them, there is only 81 million passport holders. So my question is, do we need to go after 81 million passport holder Chinese, or do I stick to the 97% of the 66 million of the UK? Question mark. Why? Because the TRevPAR, the total revenue per available room produced in any given hotels worldwide for the middle class of China is much lower than any other given European market. So if you're going after China, my word of advice is be prepared, because your total revenue per available room will be impacted. Manage volume and manage your inventory. Thank you.